Well, hey, everybody. Gina here. I hope everybody's having a great week. I've got Shannon on the other side with me.
Hello. Hello.
We are back to talk about new and exciting things this week. And I mean, starting out, Shannon, what's been going on over there? It is middle of July as we record this, and a little bit of everything going on. I mean, we're still knee deep in COVID. We still can't go. We've got actually a lot of things shutting down again. How are things there in Cincinnati as far as things being open and available?
No, actually. So it's a million degrees with 4,000% humidity, unlike your beautiful and 74 and sunny in California. But no, all of our stuff is open there. Last week, we all thought we were getting grounded because DeWine had changed his time and was like, all right, it's going to be a big talk. And we're like, okay. And it was wear a mask.
Yes.
Super anticlimactic, but we're
Yeah.
like,
I
okay.
heard he got some flack for being too lenient.
Well, yeah, and so everyone was like expecting him to say like mask mandate, like other states had, like Alabama even did, and especially since he changed his time and like was making this big, huge deal about it, and it was this huge, long, I don't know, spiel, and we're like, okay, that was the takeaway. So we should wear a mask, which is what you told us before. That's fine, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's been hot, um,
Hot and at
more hot
home. And
and more
wearing
hot.
masks is even more hot. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Like we stood in line outside Under Armour the other day because the outlet malls, there's the limited capacity into things. And so there's a line. And so you're wearing your mask. So you're sweating under your mask, wearing your sunglasses, sweating under your sunglasses. I'm like, this, how badly do I need these shorts? I do not need them this badly.
I do feel bad for the people that have to wear them all day at work. So I finally went and got my hair cut last weekend after it had been probably February since the last time I had it done. And it was time. It was like a rat's nest going on in there. So I went and got my hair cut, and I felt so bad for the people that are cutting hair. And I mean, I had it on for a couple hours while I was in there, and I was just uncomfortable and hot, and they
Mm-hmm.
have to wear it all day. So it's certainly not ideal, but we do what we got
I
to
mean,
do.
like doctors and nurses and surgeons wear them all the time. Like I have friends that literally do 12-hour surgeries. They're kind of in full gear the whole time. So I'm like,
Yeah,
all right, it's just to go to Kroger's. It's fine.
right. We can't complain, and it's necessary, right? If it helps us get rid of this faster, let's do it.
Right? As long as they don't say we have to wear them while we run, because I might have to find someplace new to run.
Yes.
Like it's
Yeah.
just so hot.
Yeah.
Like you would adapt. I mean, if it was winter, I would totally wear it in winter when I'm running, because I mean, half the time I have my muff pulled up, so it's fine.
That's true. Yeah, I will say so. This will be my 1 minute of rubbing it in a little bit, but
Gloating.
it's usually about 58 degrees and very mild when I go for my runs in the morning here.
Yeah.
Got a nice little ocean breeze coming in. It's usually shorts with a long sleeve shirt and not too much in the way of anything to complain about.
Yeah, it took off yesterday. I guess yesterday was Sunday at 7:30. I slept in and I came home and my clothes were absolutely drenched. I mean, I'm super pumped with the clothing that I chose because it was breathable, it was like colored. So like even though the sun was pounding, uh, I still wasn't like absorbing all that heat so much, which
Yeah.
is 10 out of 10. Best idea. There's some people out there running in like black. Black is stupid. Black and red and dark blue absorb the most heat from the sun. So that'll make you absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
But in some people running in like really tight clothing just holds everything in. So unless it's like really super sweat wicking, you're just gonna be hot and miserable. Flowy clothes, that's where it's at, especially when we're here and humid and any breeze you can get that helps move the clothing around.
Yes. So
Definitely.
most of the country right now, most of the people watching are probably more in the environment that you're in right now than the environment I'm in. And so, yeah, that makes it pretty challenging to figure out how to get your workouts in and get them in at, the capacity that you feel like you're really working yourself hard without
Mm-hmm.
keeling over because, the heat is so overwhelming. And the fact that we can't go to gyms right now, well, you can go to gyms in some
You can.
places, you can do a little bit of that. Yeah, they have opened some of that up. I haven't been back to a gym yet since all of this, but it feels limiting as far as what your options are. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what are some of the good things that we can keep in mind as far as being able to, get our workouts in and heat like this, or when it's, 90% humidity outside. So obviously what type of clothing you wear makes a huge difference. So avoid the
Yeah.
dark clothing, loose breathable stuff, to keep you cool while you're out there is one of the big things that you can do to make it a little bit more bearable.
Yeah, and then giving yourself grace. Like one thing a lot of people kind of tend to forget, like it's hot, it's been hot, it's going to stay hot. Your times are just going to slow down. Like
Yeah.
unless you are consistently out there all the freaking time and you're just immune to the heat, you can slow down a minute to 2 minutes per mile just because your heart rate's going up, you're trying to sweat so much, you're trying to stay cool, and then you're trying to run. And so just give yourself a little grace on your pacing. Like there are so many times I looked out at my watch and I'm like, this is stupid. And then I'd get home and realize that I'm home at 9 o'clock. I ran 10 miles and it's 90 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of us, I think, do get wrapped up in the fact that, well, we can't slow down because then we're gonna, we're not gonna be able to maintain the pace that we want to be able to maintain long term, and we're gonna lose our fitness. And I think that's probably just not true for the, for
Oh,
a lot of aspects of it, because you are working just as hard in that type of climate, and once we get to cooler weather, it's going to feel easier because we're not battling
mm-hmm.
all of those other environmental factors that are impacting our body and the way that we move.
Yeah, I mean, like there's so many times, like when normal times when people still have races to train for and there's triathlons going on, there's a lot of triathlons that you won't get to the run portion until noon. So running in Muncie in July, it has been 101 degrees before. So if you train at 5 a.m. to do your runs, you will suffer come the run because it's noon. But if you start training yourself, you get heat acclimated, all that fun jazz. But then come October or like November, when you've got marathons and stuff, you feel like you're flying because it's not super cold, it's not super hot. And so you're like, your body's been working so hard to keep you cool that it's like, oh, I don't have to work as hard. You
Mm-hmm.
just fly, you just sail,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels amazing. Just have to get
Yeah,
there.
I do think that's why I do my best marathons in the fall, because you
Mm-hmm.
train through the heat and your body has had to work through so hard through all of that, and then you get to a nicer temperature and you feel like it's so much easier. So yes, to your point, don't kill yourself because you're not doing the same pace.
Mm-hmm.
Let yourself slow down and make sure, that if it's not pertinent to your race, then get out early when the temperatures aren't as crazy, or go late in the evenings when it's cooled down a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, so that you're not in the midst of all of the worst aspects of it. Always bring water, right? I mean, this
Yes.
is not the time of year to leave the house without water, even on some of your shorter runs.
Yeah, I mean, and definitely check your route. I got to the VOA yesterday, and 2 weeks before, the water fountains on the inside and the bathrooms were open, but the water fountains outside were closed, and they had portlets out there. This weekend and last weekend, the bathrooms and water all gone. It's all
Yeah.
locked up due to COVID and everything. So fortunately, last weekend when I showed up, I was pushing Finn in the stroller, so I had water bottles in the stroller, so that was good. And then I got there yesterday and they still hadn't opened up, but I had brought my waist pack water bottle. And so that I was going to go for 12. And then I was like feeling my water. I'm like, I'm going to go home. I don't have enough for this. Like
Yeah.
just knowing when to pull the plug on that.
Yeah, don't get too far out and then realize that you need water and you don't have it, and you've got
Yeah.
a long way back, right?
Yeah.
Even though we've been lucky with the temperatures out here, we have done some afternoon hikes, and
Mm-hmm.
so there are certain parts of the area where it does get pretty warm. It'll not 95 and humid warm, but it gets hot, sunny warm. And, we have learned that lesson a little bit with the hikes. It's just you
Mm-hmm.
do need to bring water, even if you think it's not going to be that long, or, you get turned around or something like that. Make sure you have the
Mm-hmm.
water. Um, my poor dog, we've been hiking with him a little bit, and he needs it after about 5 minutes in the sun. So make sure everyone's staying hydrated when you're out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially if you're taking your little furry friend, all those dogs and stuff, you're going to have to carry extra water. And you can train him to carry his own, to
Yeah.
like get those little saddlebag style harnesses.
Yeah.
You can put water on one side and bowls on the other, so you can just pour it out.
Yeah, we've been thinking about that. We've got to get some cool contraption for that.
Yeah.
What about things like if you do some sort of hydration drink? So something like
Mm-hmm.
Gatorade or Noon or something along those lines. Is that more important in the heat than it would be other times of the year?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and one thing to think about is like when you're sweating, you're not just sweating water, so you have to replace electrolytes. Um, but one thing to be a little cognizant of is some people sweat way more than others. Like I don't sweat a ton, and so Gatorade, if I'm running, Gatorade's pretty good for me. Um, you have to watch what you put in your bottle. Like some things will fizz up way more than you thought they would, just because you're doing this the whole time, like you're bouncing around. Um, but then like Red, he sweats like crazy, and so his clothes will turn white. And so a lot of people think that they always need to take salt. They're like, oh, I ran 10 miles, I have to have salt. And it's like, but you don't, because you didn't sweat that much salt out. But then like somebody like Red who could very well use it, because I mean, he's sweating out so much salt you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need
Yeah.
to replenish that.
Definitely know yourself and what you typically do. I am a person who sweats a lot. And so, yeah, I'll finish a run and I'll have the sweat marks, along my face too. So I
Yeah.
am someone who does need some of that. And I use Noon, and usually
Yeah.
that's sufficient for me, especially on the, not super long runs. That usually
Yeah.
does the job. But yeah, I also find that if you're going out in that kind of heat, some sort of hat, but
Mm-hmm.
not maybe, not something super heavy, but like a visor or something, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just to keep the sun off your face. Even if you put, sunblock on and whatever else, it's hard to not have that infect your skin too.
Right. Yeah, no, and also hydrating 48 hours, 24 hours to 48 hours before your run, because what you drink during your run that's just keeping you going. It's not actually hydrating you.
Yeah,
It's
good
not
point.
prepping you for it. And so you can't replenish while you can without getting sick.
Good
Um,
point.
so yeah, that's something. And like eating, I know a lot of people can't eat as much in the heat. So if you're going to go out for a long run, make sure that you take something that sits well. Otherwise, you can run into some serious GI distress because, I mean, you're sitting there, your temperature's high, your heart rate's high, everything's high. Your stomach is not going to be primed for digesting things.
Good
So,
point. Yeah, test those things out in advance and see what works well for you. Something lighter, in a
yeah, keep it
situation like
simple.
that. Keep it simple is right.
Yeah, today
Yeah,
is not the day to go out there and say, I'm going to go run the ultra marathon course and try out a Snickers.
right.
That's probably going to end poorly.
Recipe for disaster.
Yes.
Yeah, all good tips. It's also a time, we talked about this a little bit last time, that, now that we don't have a lot of races on the calendar or things, in the immediate term, maybe it's time to look at some other activities too. Swimming. It's a perfect time
Mm-hmm.
to try swimming, especially if you are thinking about a triathlon down the road, or it's just, great physical activity. So it's a great way to stay in
Yeah.
shape too, and work all the muscles and the cardio at the same time.
I know some of my friends, some of my triathletes, they're doing mountain biking now
Oh,
because it seems
nice.
like mountain bike races are happening.
Uh-huh.
It's a good change as long as you don't fall over. It's not nearly as hard on your body.
Right. That would
And
be
so you get
me.
to
I
see
would
different
fall.
scenery. Yeah, I mean, you're clipped in and you're trying to go over rocks and roots and logs, and that just to me sounds awful.
Yeah.
I
I
wrecked
would not
on
be good
flat
at
road,
it.
so
I
I
would
don't.
not be good at it at all.
I want to try it, but at the same time, Red's like, we need to up your insurance policy if we're going to send you out on a mountain bike. I'm like, all right, fine.
Yes. Yeah, very
But,
true.
yeah.
Well, good. Well, yeah, there are some ways to manage it in the heat. I think overall, be smart about what you wear, be smart about what time you go out,
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that you're hydrating are just some of the biggest things. And
Yeah, and pay
trying,
attention to your body. Like
yeah,
if you stop sweating, that's a problem.
yeah, definitely.
That's a problem. And so like the only time I've come into real bad trouble was in actually a dry area. I ran in Utah a few years ago. Went out, ran 18. Before that, I had been running here in Ohio just fine. Everything was peachy. And I was expecting to feel the same way I had, but the air was so dry. So I was sweating, but it wasn't, sucking humid where like everything's wet. And so I didn't realize it. And then I was like, I got to mile like, I don't know, say 12. And I was really sucking the water down, and Red is biking next to me, handing me water. And I'm like, I can't seem to get enough to feel satisfied. Well, then we finished the run. Everything's great. I'm taking a shower and I'm like trying to drink the shower water. I'm like, something's awry. And we went out to dinner and we went to this pizza place that's out in Zion. And I drank like 5 glasses of water before I was like, I think something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I got to thinking back, and I'm like, I had a headache. I wasn't sweating. Everything was super dry. I could not get, like, I was so thirsty. I'm like, I was well into my weight on heat exhaustion. But
Yeah.
it was so subtle that I just thought I was tired. And
Yeah.
I just thought I was hot, but I didn't realize how hot I was. And so that could have been really dangerous really fast. Like, if I didn't
Definitely.
have access to all that water, that would have been bad. No bueno.
Yeah. That's super smart. Listen to your body. Take a buddy if you go out, and
Take a buddy.
so a buddy with water, preferably. But
Yes.
yeah, no, I mean it's all about planning and making sure you don't end up in a spot where you're going to be in a dangerous situation too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speak
Well, good. Yeah. Hydrate now.
yes.
Good tips. Well, stay safe, everybody, and keep positive during these times. We'll wait out of this eventually, both the heat and the rest of the things that are going on.
Right. Eventually, we might find a new normal. That's more fun.
Yes, we will. I'm confident of it. All right. Thanks, Shannon. And
Thanks.
we'll do it again soon.
Yes.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.